All right, everybody, aloha. My name is Amber Stevenson. I am the admissions officer here at BYU-Hawaii, and we are here to have this Zoom meeting to have a step-by-step guide through the application process.
So you start your journey here at BYU-Hawaii, especially your application, by clicking the apply on the top right corner. It will take you to the next section where you have to sign in with your church account. And if you don't have one, you will need to make one and create one. Click the begin application. So it will take you to the profile section. So the profile section will show the welcoming letter of BYU Hawaii, and you read through that welcoming letter, and right after you finish, you have to click on next, take you to the second section of the consent and privacy. So this part is very important because you're giving permission to BYU Hawaii to review all academic personal records that you'll be able to submit to the admission, and you mark acknowledge that I have read and understand it. And the second box where you're able to mark it by checking this box where you acknowledge and agree that you have read through these two important information about your consent and your privacy. And then you click and you take you to the next section. So this part of the section where you're able to fill up with your contact and most important stuff that you need to make sure that you have to fill up all the documents, the boxes below, with information that your name and date of birth according to that is shown on your passport. The mailing address also, all make sure that everything is correct according to what is being written on your passport. It will take you to the next section. The same thing. So for the email part is that you're able to input an email address that we're able to communicate with you concerning your application. And this email address should not be your missionary email if you're serving or currently serving a mission. This should be a personal email that you use back home. And then you'll fill up with hometown, phone number, and then you mark the box I give my consent to. The second section of emergency contact, you'll bring or input an information about someone that the school can reach out immediately if something happens to you while you're here at BYU Hawaii. It's either a parent, a guardian, or a close relative. And you fill out the information needed of name, phone number, and the relationship of the applicant to you, and email, and then you click save and continue.
All right, so in this section, it's called goals, and it's just getting an idea of what you want to accomplish here at BYU Hawaii. So the first question is really important. Pretty much, if you plan to come to Hawaii and attend BYU Hawaii, you will do the very first one, which is I am applying for full-time face-to-face enrollment. Okay. The second question is also very important. It says, have you completed a bachelor's degree at another college/university in the US or internationally? BYU Hawaii prioritizes those who don't have a bachelor's degree yet, and we don't allow people with 2 bachelor's degrees. Okay? So if you don't have a bachelor's degree, maybe you have some college credit, you can click no and keep going. This question is if you've attended BYU Hawaii before. So just to know, if you come to BYU Hawaii and you are admitted, and then you decide to serve a mission, when you come back, you actually have to reapply. And we don't do that to be mean. We do that because there are legal documents that you need to fill out again when you return from your mission. So it's almost easier for you and for us if you just submit a brand new application, and we will see that you were a former student, which is why we asked that question, because we don't want to penalize you for serving a mission. You know, you should be able to serve a mission and come back. All right. The rest is asking if you completed high school or secondary school. And then you would do yes or no, your graduation date. We also are curious if you have earned an associate's degree while in high school, okay? All right, and then the last section, this is important. It's asking you which semester you want to come to BYU Hawaii. So just to let you know, the soonest you can apply is spring 2026, which starts in May 2026. That is only if you have passed an English test, okay? And we'll go over English tests a little bit later. But if you have not passed an English test yet or taken the ELAT, the soonest you could come is fall 2026, which is in September. All right, on this page, we're wanting to know what you want to study. So in this scenario, this student wants to study elementary education, and they want 2 minors. So we ask you to choose a major and 2 minors. And so they put elementary education, health and human performance, and Pacific studies. So think about what you want to study. When you click this drop-down menu, it will list all of our programs and you can select them. And don't worry, if you don't quite know what you want to study, you can always change your major once you get here. It's actually fairly common for people to change their major. Okay. All right, school ranking. We're just curious if you have applied to any other church school. So if you are applying for BYU Hawaii and BYU Provo and Idaho, we want to know which is your priority for coming. All right. So this one, very simple. It's your housing, okay? So if you are single, which means you're not married, you will select resident hall on-campus single housing. If you're married, you'll click this and there'll be an option for you to select Temple View Apartments, or we call it TVA, okay? So the second question is, do you anticipate the need to work to support yourself as you study at BYU Hawaii? So if you're on IWORK, or if you're not on IWORK and you plan to work part-time, click yes. If you have a sponsor and you don't plan to work, click no. Do you anticipate the need for financial aid? This means if you plan to do IWORK, that is financial aid, okay? So you would click yes. Again, if you don't plan to have IWORK, you will do no, okay? All right. This one's still me, okay. All right, so this one's also a really important page. So in the About Me section, it's going to ask you to select your citizenship, okay? So let's say you were born and raised in Thailand and you are not a dual citizen of the United States. You will click the second one, which says international. If you are a dual citizen, you'll do this first one, okay? All right, this is very important, this part right here, okay? This is about our English test, which is called ELAT, E-L-A-T. So the ELAT is our free English test. You might have heard of the TOEFL or the IELTS English test. Those cost money, and you can submit those tests to us if you want to. But because we want our students from Asia and the Pacific, and we want our students from Thailand, we try to eliminate any barriers to get here. And so we created the ELAT, which is a free English test that you can take through us. The trick with the ELAT test is preparation. You need to prepare because you need to take your English test months before you apply. Okay? So the way you register and apply to take the ELAT is you are going to put your primary language. And let's say your native language is Thai, you would put Thai here. Okay? Even if you are fluent in English, you would still put your native language. Okay? And then in this drop down right here, you would select number 3, which says, I would like to take the ELAT. And then it says, this will auto enroll you in our free ELAT course. So just to let you know, as soon as you go on from this page and you click next in the application, you'll be sent an email and it will have you register for our ELAT course. So we're super nice, okay? We don't just give you the test and say good luck. We give you a free course that helps prepare you for the test. Because again, we want you to be successful and pass and come to BYU-Hawaii and have a great time, okay?
Okay, for the biographic section is you have to answer these questions according to your racial categories. The first question where you consider, if you consider yourself Hispanic, Latino, there's a drop down, you choose either yes or no. And then the second question where you're able to select one of the following racial categories that best describe yourself: Native American, Asian, Asian American, and the following that has been listed. And then the third one where you're able to choose this is when you choose the other language that you're fluent at. You speak Thai, and if there's an additional language that you're fluent, for example, English, you can click yes, and then you add the language that you're fluent in, or that doesn't show in the drop down. And then you'll click to the next section. This section, it talks about your parents' highest level of formal education, your mother and your father. The drop down will show the options, and you have to select the correct option for each question according to your parents' education. And the next one, it talks about the estimate of your annual family income. This is important because it is asking how much your entire household earns in a year annually. And since you have to make sure that it is being converted to US dollar, to US currency. You can do this by searching up an online currency converter, and then you'll get the annual amount in US dollars. And then the last one is the alumni. This is asking about if you have any relatives that you know that have graduated from BYU Hawaii.
Yeah, and I'll just pop in and say, if you don't have any family that are alumni of BYU Hawaii, and alumni means they attended BYU Hawaii before, that is okay. You will not be marked down just because you don't have family that attended, okay?
For the section of affiliation, this section is asking about if you belong to, the first question, belong to any group that supports plural marriage. You choose either of these options. And then the violation part is asking, these three legal questions are asking about any criminal history or background of yours. And you can read through it carefully and answer according to which option that best describe you. It will take you to the next section where the first part where it talks about that since the church welcomes all students of all faiths, and you're able to choose in that drop down, listed all the religions or the faith that you belong to, and you choose one. And then the third section where it's important for the members where your membership information should be linked to your church account. since you already signed in the beginning of your application. And if it does not link to your church account, please click the drop-down menu and find which mission that best describes you. Okay, this section about this honor code, where students of BYU Hawaii, you're expected to abide by the honor code, and the honor code is set of standards that students, faculty, and staff agree to live by, the principles of honesty, respect, and keeping the commandments. For example, the law of chastity or the word of wisdom. And this is very important because you promise to conduct or to show yourself in campus, living upon them at all places and whatever you do. And keeping the honor code as you read through all of them and you mark the boxes first that you acknowledge and you agree that you're able to abide yourself and you live yourself according to these standards. And then the seminary section is you have to mark which, that if you attended seminary or institute, it's either a yes or a no. And then you click save and continue.
And just to comment on the honor code, you know, BYU-Hawaii and the church schools, we're not the only schools that have an honor code of sorts or a code of conduct. Oftentimes, really prestigious schools like Harvard here in the United States, or Oxford in the United Kingdom, or other schools, probably even in Thailand, they'll have certain standards of how they want their students to act or present themselves through dress and grooming. And I know, at least in certain departments in Harvard, if you show up in sweats or show up kind of more immodest, they can send you home. Like they'll tell you to go and change, because it's about respect for the professor and for other students. Okay, so we're not super unique when it comes to an honor code. On this page, you're going to talk about your really important legal and financial documents. Okay, so when it comes to legal and financial documents, you have to triple check that it's correct. Okay, so here where it says name on passport, it is the name on your passport. If you changed your name, but whatever on your passport is different, you still go with your passport name. Okay, again, the country will be Thailand and your address. And then right here, it's going to ask for dependents. A dependent is anyone that you are bringing to Hawaii. So if you're married and you have a husband and a kid, your husband will be a dependent and your kid will be a dependent. Okay? And just to let you know, as far as dependents go, if you have a non-student spouse coming with you, so let's say you are going to attend, but your husband is not going to attend, you have to put down a $10,000 US dollar deposit. Okay. And I just want to mention that here so that it doesn't surprise any couples who are applying. 10,000 US dollars is a lot of money. And the reason for that is because, so let's say you're the student, they're the non-student. When you come to Hawaii together, you'll be going to class and probably your husband will be waiting for a work visa or something else like that. And that could take months. So you're working part-time and he's not working yet. So we need money so that you can pay for housing, pay for any emergencies. That's what that deposit is for. So $10,000 deposit for a non-student spouse. If both of you are students, then you don't need to do the $10,000 deposit. Okay. All right, so this is where you will indicate if you want to be on the IWORK program or not. Okay. So if you're not familiar with the IWORK program, it's a really unique program that BYU-Hawaii offers. And honestly, there is no program like it in the entire world. to this capacity. Again, like over 70% of campus is IWORK, which is incredible. And what IWORK means is it's a work study program. So while you're here as a student at BYU-Hawaii, you'll be going to class most of the time, full time, and then part time, you will be working. Yes, you'll be working here at BYU-Hawaii campus or at the Polynesian Cultural Center. And it's called work study because you're working and you're studying together, okay? And it is a huge blessing because IWORK covers the cost of schooling here in the States. And just to give you context, if you did not have IWORK, you would have to find a sponsor. And a sponsor is someone who says, I'm going to pay thousands of US dollars for you to go to school, which is hard to find. So IWORK is a huge blessing. This is where you will indicate if you want to apply for IWORK. And just to give you context as well, this application is like you're applying for admission and IWORK together. Okay. All right. And then on this page, you're going to tell us about your financial situation. Again, because IWORK is based on financial need, we don't just give it to everybody. We evaluate your family situation, your income, your savings, and our IWORK office indicates, okay, they need IWORK, like they need financial support, and then they will award you IWORK, okay? So in this section, you are going to put the annual income, either your annual income or yes, you'll put your annual income, you'll put your bank statements, you'll also put in your household. So if it's your mom, if you live with your mom, your dad, and your brother, and let's say your mom and your dad work, but your brother is 17 and doesn't work yet, okay? And then in this section, you will indicate how much money your family intends to help you come to BYU Hawaii. So if your parents can give you $1,000 a year, and this is per year, let's say they can give you $1,000 a year or $300, that's what you'll put here. And if they are unable to support you, you just put 0. Okay. And then you just follow the rest of the instructions for these ones. This is asking if you have any family member on a mission, anyone who's still in college, if you have a family member not living with you right now. This just helps paint a picture of your family's situation, okay?
Okay. For the government or other support, so this section where you're able to list the government support, sponsors, if you're a self-funded student and you're planning to come to BYU Hawaii and you need to have a sponsor, and this is where you'll put their information, the sponsor information in this section. And if you're planning to apply for IWORK, you won't need a sponsor, as IWORK will be your sponsor, will supplying financially for yourself. And as you read through all the the information, and then you mark that you agree for the information that you have input above. For this section where the documents, income documents are, so the first two are very important. So where you need to upload the financial documents of those who will be supporting you. And you must upload the income documents and savings, and we will not allow it to proceed without this. So these two, you need to upload income documents of anyone before that you input, or any of your family members that will be supporting you financially, their income documents and their saving documents. And you'll read through all these, of any of these documents that will apply to you. And then the additional email, this email will be used by IWORK to reach out to you about your financial documents. And please list in the comment section, it is very important that you list any circumstances or anything that you like IWORK to know about your financial situation. Whether a parent or one of your parents lost a job, or you're the only person who financially support you and your family. And you click save and continue. We'll take you to the next one.
Yeah, sorry, really quick. So let's say, like, because you need a file within this section, let's say you have a savings account, but let's say you have never worked before and you don't have any pay slips. And let's say for some reason your parents don't have it, just make a document, like a Word document, and just type in, I don't have any pay slips, something like that, so that it can give you context for, it can give the IWORK office context for your income. Okay. All right, this one's really simple. It's just asking you about any secondary education or high school. Likely, if you have graduated secondary school, you will put number 2. Okay. I have graduated from secondary school outside of the US. Okay. And it's also going to ask you for something called a GPA, and that stands for grade point average here in the States. Every country has a different way of measuring uh, like grades. So whenever you get your grades from your secondary school or high school, you can go online and find a converter to convert it to a US GPA. Okay, US GPA, the max you can have is a 4.0. So if you have a 3.7, 3.5, you're good. Okay. All right, the rest of this, just click any of these that also apply. And it will ask for the name of the school and again to convert it. Okay.
All right, for the university education, so this section you're able to put in if you ever complete any college or university credit. It's either it includes list all the college and university credit, includes Pathway Connect if you took Pathway. Even if your grades aren't perfect, please do apply. Please do apply.
Oh, something I'll mention too is there's a box, we don't have it here on the slides, but you are required to list all of your college credit. Okay. So any college that you've done, you have to state it. This is pretty serious because it matters to us that you don't have a second degree. And if we find out that you have college credit that you didn't report, we could actually send you home. That's how serious this is, because BYU-Hawaii is so limited in the space that we have. So some people want to stay here as long as they can, but we want you to be honest. Just any college credit you have, please report it.
Okay, for activities, so this section, it reflects on the activities that you've been involved in. So you are describing or putting information on who you are outside of school, outside of classroom. And these, you're able to select up to two activities. And this drop down, there will be three sections of where there's be art, music, and service. It will describe which one that you want to put this description of, and then the second one you'll provide a short description of the specific activity that you chose. The following, how long that you've been participating in this activity. For example, art, you've been in this participating in this art competition for a week, or how long that time period. It depends on the type of activity and the one that you like. And then the last one, why did you choose to participate on this activity? It briefly described in the question, and how did it benefit you as you participated in it? So you can choose 1 and up to 2 activities.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so in this section of the application, in activities and the essays, this is your chance to show us who you are, okay? So up until now in the application, you put a lot of information, your birthday, address, income, whatever. But in your essays, we want to know who you are. Who is this person? What do they like? What do they want? What do they plan to do with their life? Yeah? So this is your chance to show us your personality. And really quick, before you start your essays, you have to click this box that acknowledges that you will not use AI-generated tools like ChatGPT to write your essays. And this is really serious. I want to read this, right? Please be aware that we use software tools to analyze admissions essays and activity responses of all students. We may rescind the admission offer of any student whose essay or activity response is found to have been generated by AI or otherwise plagiarized. So AI, or having your mom write it, or your friend write it, or your sibling write it, if we find out that you used that and you are accepted, we can deny you. And this is serious. We have the right, let's say you used AI to write your essays and it sounds good, we let you in, you fly on the plane from Thailand to Hawaii, and you get here your first week. If we find out you used AI, we will buy a plane ticket. We can buy a plane ticket and send you right back home to Thailand. That's how serious we are about this, because it's about honesty and it's about producing your own work, okay? Again, like we said with the honor code is really, it's about honesty and respect, okay? So, but not to worry about you guys, you'll be okay because you're smart and you will write your own essays. And yeah, so the first essay is called the vision essay. And we want you to share experiences about how you plan to live and lead in Asia or the Pacific. So my biggest advice, because I'm one of the admissions officers that looks at the essays, people say, I promise I'll do this, I promise I'll be serviceable, I promise that, don't promise, share experiences. The second essay is our honor code essay. And so we want you to describe what integrity or honesty means to you. And so again, back to the honesty thing. That's how important it is to us. We want students who are honest to come to BYU Hawaii. And so that's pretty serious. If you use AI to write an honesty essay that you said you would not do, that's a big no-no. That's no good, okay? So you got this. One thing you can do, you can have a sibling, a parent, a friend look over it and give you advice, but they cannot write it for you, okay? That's the essays. All right, this is for the ecclesiastical endorsement. Ecclesiastical means church, okay? It's a fancy word for church. And so ecclesiastical endorsement, you need to be interviewed. If you're a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you need to be interviewed by your bishop and your stake president. You need 2 interviews. If you are not a member of our church, you will also need 2 interviews. One will be from your church leader. So it could be a pastor, could be a rabbi. And then you need to be interviewed by BYU Hawaii's chaplain. Okay, our chaplain is over all of our non-member students. Okay.
All right, for the section of transcript, so every transcript that will be sent in, these are the following guidelines that students and applicants should follow. First, if you are the applicant sending in your transcript, there is the box below and the transcript where you need to officially cite your transcript. You'll have your church leader's name, a classical leader's name, and then a date, and have him cited that phrase of this transcript has been cited and his signature. That is if the applicant, you are sending in the transcript to the admission. And if the institution or university or school that you've studied in send in your transcript, it doesn't require any church leader to cite your transcript. They'll send it straight from the institution to the admission to us. And please have all the documents, all your transcript, please be translated into English if that's possible. That will help a lot. For this section, this will be the overview of your application. So for your application to be submitted, there is a fee of $35 US, and once the fee is paid, you have to go back to the application. Once all these sections, the endorsement, ELAC, you've taken ELAC, and your transcript have been submitted, international documentation, and once all that are being marked completed in green, and then you're able to click and submit.